Okay, picture this. The guy who literally invented the modern world died completely penniless in a tiny, rundown hotel room. But within hours of his last breath, the FBI was already raiding his belongings. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unraveling the absolute mystery that is the life of Nikola Tesla. This is the man who gave us the foundations for Wi-Fi, remote controls, neon lights, and the actual electricity powering our homes right now. And yet his life ended in total shadows. You know, after living in a hotel for 9 straight years without paying a single bill, his death triggered an immediate, top-secret government raid. So, what exactly were they so desperate to find in room 3327? To understand the secrets locked inside his vault, we've got to explore a chilling pattern revealed in the source documents. The evidence suggests that Nikola Tesla wasn't just a victim of bad luck. He was systematically assassinated 3 separate times throughout his life. Section 1. Tesla's mysterious end. Let's dive right into this by starting at the very end of his life, before we trace his steps backward to figure out why he became such a massive target. So on January 5th, 1943, an 86-year-old Tesla hangs a Do Not Disturb sign on his door at the Hotel New Yorker. For 48 hours, nobody goes in. Finally, on January 8th, a maid ignores the sign and finds him dead. And here is where the anomalies really begin. A medical examiner shows up and confidently points the exact time of death as January 7th at exactly 10:30 p.m. Now, medical science in 1943 just wasn't advanced enough to determine a time of death with that kind of down-to-the-minute precision after days of total isolation, but almost immediately the FBI descends on the room. They end up seizing 80 trunks of Tesla's belongings. But what's truly bizarre here is the specific agency that took them, the Office of Alien Property Custodian. This was a U.S. agency designed specifically to seize property from foreign threats during World War II. But Tesla was an official U.S. citizen. According to the sources, the government bypassed standard protocol because Tesla's nephew was a Yugoslav ambassador with communist ties, and they were absolutely terrified his classified research might fall into Soviet hands. Number 2. The Great War of Currents. To really understand why his research was considered a national security threat in 43, we have to look at the first time he disrupted the global system. Back in the late 19th century, Thomas Edison had a massive monopoly on electricity with his direct current, or DC system. But DC had a fatal flaw. It could only transmit power about 2 to 3 kilometers, which meant you needed expensive power stations literally everywhere. Enter Tesla with his alternating current, or AC system. AC could transmit electricity over hundreds of kilometers, and it was incredibly cheap. So suddenly, Tesla is threatening to completely destroy Edison's highly profitable monopoly. Edison, of course, did not take this well. In response, he launched a brutal PR war. To convince the public that Tesla's AC was dangerous, Edison's company started publicly electrocuting cats, dogs, and, incredibly, even an elephant. He wanted the whole world to fear alternating current, but Tesla fought back. He actually shocked himself with AC electricity in public just to prove to everyone that it was perfectly safe. And you know what? Tesla ultimately won the War of Currents. He did it through 2 incredibly historic events. First, he successfully lit up the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, powering over 200,000 bulbs at half the budget Edison had proposed. Then, in 1895, he achieved the impossible. He built an AC generator at Niagara Falls that transmitted electricity 30 to 40 kilometers all the way to Buffalo. It cemented AC as the global standard, which, by the way, is exactly what's powering the device you're watching this explainer on right now. 3. First assassination. Economic. But here's the twist. Winning the war of technology directly led to the first of Tesla's 3 assassinations. This one was entirely economic. When Tesla partnered with George Westinghouse, he signed an unbelievable deal. He got $600 in cash, 150 company shares, a $2,000 monthly salary, and a royalty of $2.50 per horsepower of AC electricity sold. Within 3 years, Tesla was a millionaire. As AC took over the globe, that $2.50 royalty was literally on track to make Nikola Tesla the world's very first billionaire. So the crucial point is what happened next. The War of Currents had nearly bankrupted Westinghouse's company. So Westinghouse goes to Tesla and begs him to alter the deal, warning that if the company fails, Edison's DC system might win out and humanity would suffer for it. Now, psychologists note that Tesla possessed what's called a messianic complex. He firmly believed he was put on this earth to serve humanity, not to just make a profit. So without even hesitating, Tesla tore up his billion-dollar contract. He saved the company, sure, but he completely economically assassinated himself. Section 4. J.P. Morgan's betrayal. Stripped of that massive royalty income, Tesla suddenly had to rely on outside investors for his next grand vision. And this led him straight to the ultimate capitalist, J.P. Morgan. Tesla wanted to build the massive Wardenclyffe Tower, but knowing Morgan was heavily invested in coal and oil, Tesla hid his true motives. He secured $150,000 in funding from Morgan by pitching the tower as a revolutionary wireless communication device for sending messages and photos, basically just saying he was competing with other inventors of the time. But when the money eventually ran out, Tesla had to go back to Morgan and confess the truth. The tower wasn't just for communication, it was designed to pull electricity from the Earth itself and provide free, unlimited wireless energy to the entire world. Upon hearing this, Morgan famously asked one defining question: where does the meter go? Realizing free energy would utterly destroy his own energy empire, Morgan didn't just pull his funding. He systematically blacklisted Tesla, ensuring no other major investor would ever touch him again. 5. Death ray and FBI. And this financial blacklisting brings us right back to his later years, bouncing between hotels, which led directly to that FBI raid and the most mysterious piece of technology in the entire Tesla files. Back in the 1930s, Tesla owed the Governor Clinton Hotel $400 for his room and board. Completely unable to pay, he handed the manager this mysterious, premium-looking box as collateral. He claimed it contained his death ray, a particle beam weapon capable of destroying 10,000 airplanes from 400 kilometers away. He warned the manager it was worth millions, but that it was highly dangerous and should absolutely never be opened. So when the FBI seized everything in 1943, they assigned a guy named John Trump, yes, Donald Trump's uncle, to evaluate the box. Trump publicly declared it was a total fake, just a 45-year-old electrical resistance box Tesla used to trick the hotel. The government used this to completely dismiss Tesla as a delusional old man, but there is a huge conflict in the historical record here. In 1984, the Belgrade Museum uncovered actual, highly detailed particle beam plans straight from Tesla's files. And decades later, major defense initiatives like Ronald Reagan's Star Wars program and Israel's 2014 Iron Beam utilized principles that are strikingly identical to Tesla's original descriptions. Now, what's really interesting about this is the numbers. After years of pleading, the U.S. government finally returned Tesla's belongings to his family in 1952. But out of the 80 trunks they seized, they only returned 60. To this very day, 20 trunks remain entirely missing. Even after partial declassifications in 2016, full access is still denied, with the government citing national security, which, you have to admit, is a pretty fascinating stance for research supposedly done by a quote-unquote delusional inventor. 6. Erased from history. This leads us to the third and final assassination of Nikola Tesla, the deliberate erasure of his legacy from our collective historical memory. When you look at standard science curriculums, Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein received this widespread, universally celebrated coverage. Tesla, by contrast, is treated as barely a footnote. Despite inventing the systems that literally power our modern world, he received just a fraction of the historical recognition of his peers. And this brilliantly illustrates a profound truth presented in our sources. Society loves to celebrate innovation, but only when that innovation supports the existing economic order. Think about it. When you invent something like a slightly better light bulb or a profitable power grid, the system rewards you. But the exact moment you challenge that system, by attempting to give the world free energy and dismantle massive corporate monopolies, the system systematically suppresses you. Nikola Tesla was a true visionary who operated literally decades ahead of his contemporaries. As he famously predicted, the present is theirs, the future, for which I really worked, is mine. But as we sit here and think about those 20 trunks still locked away in classified vaults today, we have to ask ourselves, if the system buried Nikola Tesla for trying to give us free energy, what other world-changing innovations are currently gathering dust in a government vault right now?